Disco is dead, baby. But not the genre so much as the man, Charlie Disco. Not that he remembers it, or being brought back to life and guided by a floating skull known as Vice. The only thing real is that his ex-bandmates have seemingly moved on, each finding success as rock stars, K-pop icons, and more, some at the expense of his legacy. But utilizing the power of Beat Kundo, Charlie aims to find out who murdered him and why, and maybe get the band back together in the process. Amid the ludicrous setup lie some rather familiar themes. The consequences of fame, whether it's delusions of grandeur or selling out to whoever pays top dollar. You know, the usual. It's all Charlie can do to remind his bandmates of what matters, both through words and by knocking some sense into them, and their seemingly infinite supply of groupies. However, there's clearly more going on, like something discordant that could unravel everything. However, by this point you're probably wondering, what is Dead as Disco anyway? Well, to put it bluntly, it's a free-flow combat-style beat-em-up, similar to the Batman Arkham games, dishing out a consistent degree of punishment to enemies who build up a combo, known as beats. The key difference is that you're encouraged to slay to the beat, whether it's to increase the damage of certain moves, replenish your takedown tokens faster, or to net a higher score than anyone else, among some other things. It may seem overtly simple, but that's the core appeal and how Dead as Disco has quickly built a name for itself through several playtests and demos, crossing 1 million wishlists on Steam. It's launching on Steam Early Access on May 5th and offers 4 opponents to tussle across their unique stages. You can travel back to the central hub, known as the Encore, to decorate, converse with characters, and unlock new skills. Or you could venture into the infinite disco and undertake challenges, fighting waves of enemies on any track without conditions or engage in an endless dance of brutality. Now, when that's not enough, you can import your own tunes and finally customize the beat timing, like Audio Surf with fisticuffs, and it is awesome. From the menus right down to the animated stills and character designs, Dead as Disco oozes style. Its aesthetics are clearly in tune not just with the presented genres of music, but the mentalities of NPCs themselves. The AI, Aurora, for example, offers a mix of starry backdrops and a boss phase that occurs on a planetary ring as you deflect stars back at her giant form. Hemlock is more grunge, a dimly lit, neon graffiti-infused subway where the tracks become an impromptu mosh pit. I don't even know where to begin describing Dex's levels, which I feel like is a fusion of brutalist architecture and desolate monochromatic landscapes. It defies description at times, especially when you're transitioning from one section to the next at breakneck speed, like a psychotropic music video. And yet, amid all of this, visual clarity remains relatively clean, ensuring that you always know where the next threat is coming from, even if you haven't mastered the muscle memory necessary to conquer them all. Even the little visual flourishes, like the word perfect bursting forth in a spray of color from an enemy, or Charlie's animations upon completing combos, add to the overall charm. Now, if you've played any of the Batman Arkham games, you'll have a strong fundamental understanding of the combat. Press X to attack, Y to counter, and A to dodge. When an opponent is dazed, press B for a finisher, and once you've earned a takedown token, Y plus B lets you execute it. Meanwhile, the Fever Bar is your ticket to unleashing abilities. A solid system, and one that Dead as Disco takes to with relative ease, even if Charlie's strikes may feel a bit weightier than expected. Of course, that window feels finely honed for several different purposes, whether it's quickly transitioning into counters and perfect dodges, or properly timing your strikes to the beat. But the best part is how it takes those fundamentals and adds its own unique abilities and nuances while still allowing for an extensive amount of freedom. Baseball sliding into enemies will launch them into the air. Heavy kicks can send them into walls and set them up for finishers. Perfectly timed counters deal more damage. Perfectly timed dodges into counters can lead to finishers. Finishers can provide a few seconds of invincibility, letting you avoid that charging headbanger or riot guard. Sure, you could set up enemies for quick knockouts, clearing rooms with methodical finesse. but how about playing the drums on some poor sap's face before knocking him out, or tossing a drumstick from afar to keep the combo going while you sprint full force towards a target? The beat can serve as a strong guideline for how you should be timing those blows, but the nature of those hits is up to you. And if you're a stickler for hitting to the beat, well, don't worry. There are options for enabling a beat indicator and a beat ring. You can even make it so that non-attacking enemies are indicated at all times. Also, I cannot heap enough praise on the actual boss fights, even if it can be annoying to constantly sit through their cutscenes or subsequent retries without a skip button. Each of them feels mechanically unique, though you'll have to get used to dealing with and dodging area of effect attacks. Aurora in particular can get annoying since she suddenly lobs a projectile at you with little warning. Defeating your ex-bandmates unlocks new attacks and skill trees, and while some upgrades like extra hearts and fever bars can feel straightforward, you can also transform certain abilities. Bass Invader, which sees Charlie swinging a guitar to knock back surrounding enemies, can become Super Bass Invader, where charging the attack results in a powerful Grand Slam that sends enemies up in the air. Considering you can only have 4 equipped at once, there's definitely room for picking favorites, but you're free to reset the skill trees at any time and play around with different options. While its visuals are to die for, Dead as Disco would be nothing without some great music. There are over 25 tracks currently, and though your mileage may vary, I found Boom by Baby No Money and the classic Maniac to perfectly fit the overall vibe. Even Aurora's original songs are pretty great, carrying a distinct K-pop flavor. Suffice to say, I really like Dead as Disco. Even in early access, it's so polished, balancing style with substance while tapping into the aspect of mastery that made those Batman Arkham challenge maps so immensely replayable. Even if there's still a ways to go before the story is fully fleshed out, the amount of content is still pretty respectable at $25. Whether you're trying to master each chapter, complete all challenges, or rack up a high score in Infinite Disco. The fact that more abilities, customization options, challenges, bosses, skill trees, music, that true endgame, and even co-op are also in the works is mind-boggling. Charlie Disco may or may not find a resolution to all this, but one thing is for sure, the band's getting back together, and by the time Dead as Disco exits early access, it should be one for the ages. But for now, however, it's an excellent early access offering that masterfully blends 3D beat-em-up combat with some sick beats.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.